What's up, guys? My name is JDCook5 and welcome to the Chelsea versus Manchester City preview. Before we do get into this episode, it'd be much appreciated if you're able to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and don't forget to hit that notification button so you never miss a video. Chelsea versus Man City then. Chelsea's opening home match against the mighty Premier League champions and the champions of many other things as they seem to rule it over the years. A massive test for Chelsea to be able to see what they can do under new manager Enzo Maresca. Kickoff is at 4:30 on Sunday with the referee being Anthony Taylor. Boo, we don't like him at all, do we? But unfortunately we're going to have to put up with his antics and see if any kind of changes that he does make in the actual or decisions, that he makes in the game itself are a little bit controversial compared to what he's previously had. He's actually refereed the last 3 opening matches for Chelsea, being Liverpool, Tottenham and now Manchester City. Very suspect from the FA, it has to be said. But moving on to the actual game itself, it's a tough fixture, it has to be said. We're winless in the last 6 against Manchester City there, drawing 2 and losing 4 there. Since the actual kind of starts of the season, we've actually been quite successful, it has to be said. Really seem to be kind of getting a good start normally in a season, but so do Manchester City. They've won their opening match in the last 12 or 13 seasons also, with that exception of losing against Tottenham in that 1-0 loss. But apart from that, their start to the seasons are pretty good also. So it's going to be a tough contest between 2 teams that are going to want to get themselves going at the start of the season. Our actual record against Manchester City is pretty poor, but we'll go on to that in further. So in terms of the actual confidence I've got for this particular match, not much at all. There's a lot of doubt as a club, I still feel. Much of we've made a lot of signings and there's a few different things that are going on. I just don't know if we are going to be where we need to be, and I feel like might be another season like we did have under Pochettino. No disrespect to Enzo Maresca, and as Pep Guardiola said in his press conference, give him time, and that's exactly what we've got to do. We've got to give him time, and this fixture should definitely not declare his sort of kind of management as a Chelsea manager. And going on further from there, obviously he's not going to get sacked in the first game, but I'm going in the actual future itself and different results. We can't, as much as we've got the name and somehow we've got the players in some respect, I feel like in other ways we're not going to be at the top like we used to. I feel like we're always going to be second best in a lot of fixtures, and we're always going to be put down. We've got a good chance this season, we really do. But again, it's the case of whether it really works, and if we're just going to have another development season, and we're waiting for things to happen. I'm not too sure. But let's crack on to the actual lineup predictions and everything else that I've got in this episode, and let's stay tuned for this one. Now, I'm just going to brush over this particular topic, but in the last 5 against Manchester City, it has not looked good for us whatsoever. 2 draws, 3 losses. That's not including FA Cups, I'm not too sure. But even though our record just doesn't seem to be that good. Head-to-head wise, we've actually won 27 in the Prem, lost 16 and drawn 7 overall to Manchester City in the Premier League. So statistically, yes, okay, but we haven't won there since 2021, I think, the last time we beat Manchester City. So a lot to do in that retrospect, and yeah, a lot of kind of time now where we really need to kind of kick on and just try and see if we can compete with these sort of teams. And we showed it last season, 2 draws in the league, and we should have definitely kind of been in the chance of winning both of them games at the same time. So there's no saying why we can't. We have made improvements in the squad. It's just whether it works at the same time. But it really, really interesting to see, it has to be said. So I'm hoping that we'll be able to change this around and do something else about it. But at the end of the day, it's still going to be a very, very big task. Obviously, being winless in the last 6 meetings itself, let alone the 5 that I've just shown you here, and a 2-1 win away in 2021. Really crazy to say how far away that actually is. But we'll continue on with the episode, showing you now the lineup predictions. Now, with having a massive squad just like we do, it's very hard to be able to tell who's actually going to be in the lineup. Bearing in mind we have 43 players to choose from at the moment. Pep Guardiola joked to say about our double squad, and he's not wrong, because our squad is nothing but a joke in terms of numbers, and we definitely need to be able to kind of put it down to a little bit where it's refined. Enzo Maresca did actually mention today that he is only training 28 players, so I can only show that is the number that he wants in his squad, and he has picked the amount of numbers that are going to be there, who he is training. He's got some big decisions to make, it has to be said, and again, the result could kind of depend on the decisions that he does make in game. Compared to last season, we do have a lot of selection, and that will be the big thing this season, if a lot of players can stay fit. If they can stay fit, that is. This is my lineup. I've gone for a 4-2-3-1, so it was the previous formation that Pochettino used to play, as well as Enzo Maresca is very kind of dips in the terms of like free at the back and things like that, so I'm not too sure if he's going to go with that. Obviously, he's tested a lot of things in pre-season. James and Gusto have had some sort of inverted role, shall we say, going in the centre midfield, but then still playing as a wing-back. It's questionable to what will happen. But yeah, I've gone for a 4-2-3-1. Robert Sanchez in goal, a massive hot topic at the moment, to be honest, why he is in goal. I'm not too sure. Obviously, we've signed Philip Jorgensen from Villarreal, which is an okay signing. I don't think it's anything special, and I might be kind of washed by the amount of things that we've won over the years, but if you said that to me, say 5-10 years ago, that we're signing a player of that sort of calibre, then it wouldn't really matter, because we always had someone that was much further ahead. But these are the things we're kind of suited out for. So obviously the choices are now Sanchez, Jorgensen, Petrovic pretty much looks gone, if he's going to go on a loan to Strasbourg, or if he's going to be sold elsewhere. If they can conjure the amount of 13 million upwards, then they'll be able to accept a bid. So realistically, there are our two goalkeeper options. So Robert Sanchez seems to be the favoured goalkeeper for Enzo Maresca, as he tries to envisage a goalkeeper playing out from the back, even though he did have very much of a shaky moment and conceded a few goals from doing that himself last year, Robert Sanchez. But yeah, Sanchez in goal. Cucurella's a left back, amazing Euros, has to be said. No reason why he's not going to be getting into the team. He doesn't seem to favour Chilwell. He seems to favour more Renato Vega. That's been a bit of a kind of different one for us this season, signing from Basel. Going to be interesting to see what sort of roles he plays with the Conference League fixtures coming up also. But yeah, Renato Vega at the left back there. Malo Gusto on the right hand side. A very good player last season. Very kind of valuable for our squad. And he's very trustworthy on that right hand side. I reckon he'll be able to keep a few of the City wingers in his back pocket. In terms of the centre backs, I've gone for Badiashile and Live Colwill. Enzo Maresca mentioned in the week that he would like his partnership to be pretty. It's not been said, but it's been rumoured, shall we say, that Fofana and Colwill are the two centre backs to be a pairing. I'm just a little bit unsure on Fofana, not so much Live Colwill, as much as he was injured last season. Fofana obviously didn't play at all, so I'm wondering if he's going to have as much of a good pre-season as what they say or whatever, and he can actually be match fit. But I've gone for Badiashile because he knows he'll be fit. In the middle, I've gone for Enzo Fernandez and Caicedo. Obviously, we've had a massive drama in the midfield with Conor Gallagher and so on, which would normally be the role of Conor this time round. It's not going to be the case, because I don't think he'll be a Chelsea player from now on. We did sign Kieran Dewsbury-Hall, which will play in this sort of position, and it'll be interesting to do. Obviously, we've got a lot of centre mids that can kind of sort of play in that role at the same time, with a lot of ingoings, outgoings, and so on. It's very unknown who's going to be in that middle. Obviously, Romeo Lavia's come back from injury as well, so that's going to be another player that you're going to be seeing in that middle very soon. But I reckon he will go for Enzo and Caicedo as his stronger partnership. I'm not too sure on the partnership. Obviously, last season when the two did play together, they're very similar players at the same time, so it's very hard to be able to kind of be between the two. And one needs to be more attacking than the other, but it's just really, really hard to see it from that actual midfield itself. But we shall see. Attacking front, our attacking options are very good this year, it has to be said, and it's very exciting from a goal-scoring aspect that we've actually got people that can score goals. Christopher Nkunku is fully match fit, and he had a very good pre-season, so I think he'll be coming in on the left-hand side. He's mentioned that Cole Palmer is going to play more of a midfield sort of cam role, so I've gone for Palmer in the middle there, and Pedro Neto, the new signing, the number 19 for Chelsea, on the right-hand side. Enzo Maresca did mention that he hasn't obviously had the game time, and he said he's physically fit and he is ready. It's just whether he kind of is envisaged with the system and so on, so it's going to be interesting to see if he actually does feature. If not, I reckon Noni Madueke, but again, I think there's so much doubt over so many players, you just wonder if they are going to play or stay. Noni Madueke, if valued at 60 million, if a bid were to be met, then it would be okay for him to go, and same for Raheem Sterling if João Felix were to come. So a lot of uncertainty about many players at the club, but I've gone for that as my attacking option with Nicholas Jackson up top. Mark Guy, I'm pretty sure if I'm right in saying, has had an amazing pre-season, and he's been a bit of a revelation for Chelsea, only signing for 6 million from Barcelona after he didn't want to renew his contract and he had no clause in the previous one, hence why Barca wanted to sign him up. But he's been really good in pre-season, and I reckon he can be a good number 2 for Nicholas Jackson, to be honest. A lot of talk over Victor Osimhen season, but I'm just not sold on the idea of paying so much money for a 29-year-old and you're going to have a striker for 3-4 seasons. We really need to have someone a bit like a Drogba in the terms of the age. I'm not saying the actual profile itself, but interesting to see again. But another talking point, it's just one of those. But we will crack on, and obviously we'll get updated as time goes on. But that is going to be my 11. Is it the strongest we've got? No. Is it the best that we can probably offer at this moment in time at the start of the season? Yes. There's a few different changes that I would personally make with Badiashile not playing. Potentially in the middle with Fernandes and Caicedo as well. I'd like to see Romeo Lava featured more. But we will see. Time will tell. And it's a long, long season. So we'll definitely see many more players to come. I know you can see the final score on your screen right now from what I've predicted. Before we do get into that, just a noted thing, Oscar Bob is obviously injured for Sunday's game, as well as Rodri will not feature because of obviously not being able to train with the side. So they've got 2 absentees for tomorrow. The only factor for Chelsea is Reece James is suspended as well as injured. So even if he wasn't suspended, of course he is injured. My final score is Chelsea 1, Manchester City 3. I think City have too much quality and they've had a manager they've had for seasons that they've been in to embed a process and so on, where they've got a system in the side, and I just feel like that'll just be too much for Chelsea. They displayed that in the pre-season. I know it's only pre-season, but Chelsea had a shocking one, it has to be said. It is going to be very interesting. I feel like it's going to be a tight game to a retrospect, but at the end of the day, I just feel like City will just have too much for Chelsea. We'll probably make a good start, but whether we're able to keep up with it, I'm not too sure. But we might be shocked. We might be shocked, and we might put in an absolutely amazing performance, but we whether want to go on to the season and go on even further. But as of the moment, I can't see it, and I really can't. And I feel like it is going to be a process built over time in the club. But I'm willing to stick with it, and I'm willing to be there no matter what. That is for sure, and that's what you have as a football fan. So interesting times for the club. I'm not too sure we're going to get off to the best of starts, but let's see what does the season bring, and hopefully the review will be positive and not negative. But we shall see in time on the actual game day itself. But this is the end of this particular one. I'm glad to get back doing these particular videos, and we'll definitely see more as the fixtures come thick and fast over the year. But that is it for this particular episode. I hope you guys have enjoyed this one. Please like and subscribe for more content. Don't forget to hit that notification button so you never miss a video. And that will be it for this episode. Thank you very much, and we'll see you soon. Cheers.